GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show reporting from a market so bullish, even your grandma is asking how to buy Solana. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton. It's Friday, May the 9th. And there is something happening within crypto right now that these are the moments that get me so fired up. Like, I know markets are bullish, and I know ETH is above 2,200, and y'all listening are fired up, and Bitcoin's above 103, or maybe it's at 102 now. It's Bitcoin's doing its thing, and that's all great. But today I want to dive into an area of crypto that I'm really excited about because we talk so much about product market fit and building real apps for real humans, not just the super techie crypto native nerds that we have right now in crypto. What about the rest of the world? How are we going to get them on chain? And today's guest is leading that in a huge way right now. I'm talking about Dee Goens, co-founder of Zora, where they are building around content coins. I'm sure you guys have heard about content coins, and maybe you heard about the base content coin controversy that happened a few weeks ago. We talked about that in a past show with Laura Shin, although we'll address that in today's show as well. But what is happening around content coins is opening up an entire new market of value on the internet around attention and social media content. Why does Facebook get all of the value from the content that you post on Instagram? I have no idea. And I know you all agree with that. So that's what today's discussion is all about. A super exciting use case that I think is going to be a massive onboarding ramp over the next year. Before we jump in and hear from Dee, I got to let you guys know quickly that if you want to know about a massive acquisition that happened this week, I'm talking about Coinbase acquired Deribit. We talked about it a little bit on yesterday's show with Dan Tapiero because he is one of the investors in Deribit. But if you want to know more about that story, check out our newsletter from yesterday. Great post that really breaks that down and why we are so bullish on IPOs and M&A activity happening in crypto right now. Check the link in the show notes. Today's episode is brought to you by Ledn. Get cash without selling your Bitcoin. It's also brought to you by Coinshift, powering top crypto treasuries with their yield-bearing stablecoin, CSUSDL. Without further ado, Dee, welcome to the Milk Road Show.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, super excited to have you, my man. Okay,
Yeah,
let's start with let's just start with some like you guys launched content coins 7 weeks ago.
yeah.
Give us the numbers so far.
Yeah, so far, the coins that have been launched on the protocol have done $243 million in trading volume, which is kind of crazy if you think about just people trading content on the internet as like a net new novel behavior, which is pretty wild. I think we've seen over 2.5 million unique traders of these coins. And so market participation and market demand is definitely present, I would say, for this type of asset. And then I think we've seen well over 100,000 or so unique creators. And so there's a ton of people who are excited to use the platform or excited to use the protocol. I think we've seen like podcasters like yourself. We've seen short form video content creators, musicians. We've seen comedians, sketches, parodies, you name it. It's been really cool to see a lot of different creative disciplines sort of onboarding and a lot of real people and real faces. And yeah, it's been amazing. We're super stoked and just getting started.
I want to make sure that everybody can frame this conversation. So if somebody listening to this has never used Zora before, give us the like I'm a 5-year-old definition or description of Zora.
Yeah, I'd say the ELI5 is Zora is a toy that allows you to post your drawings or pictures with your friends. And if your friends like those pictures, they can also buy some of those pictures or videos with their little pieces of candy. And if your picture goes absolutely bonkers, aka all of the kids in your classroom really like that picture, then you can actually get a bit more candy, maybe even like a nicer piece of candy. That'd be like the ELI5.
That's
It's like
great.
all the market talk.
That's
To
great.
add the market talk, well, we can pause there. Maybe
No. Go ahead.
go
Keep
from
keep going.
ELI5 to 18 plus.
uh, and this is maybe my favorite description. I pulled this up from earlier today from your Twitter. Here's somebody saying, "I'm having fun. I made $1," which doesn't sound insane, but like I don't make $1 from doom scrolling Instagram. If I had $1 for every time I doom scrolled, that would be nice. Like this is a great example of what Sora is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think one of our like peers in the base ecosystem, Alexander over at Airdrome, he wrote like a really thoughtful essay or article on Twitter this week about Zora and why he's so fascinated with everything that Zora is doing. And one of the pull quotes from it was, "It's like Instagram, but it pays better."
Hmm.
And so it's cool to see that like actual like value proposition show up for an end user. Like that's a screenshot of a tweet from a friend of our events marketing lead, Corinne, where she was like, "Hey, how are you liking the app?" And like that's an actual piece of feedback. And so I think on the consumer side, we're starting to see that participation in social networks now can have like a economic benefit to you as a person who's engaging and sharing your attention with the space. And then I think we can get into this in a bit, but like on the creator side, the only way that that person who was scrolling was able to make money is the fact that there's a liquid market that exists for that creator's post, and the fact that that person could buy it actually helped the creator to earn a bit of money. And so I think like I was thinking about this on the way over. At a high level, the internet and social networks feel like the new emergent markets. I know that sounds like a little crazy to say because they've already emerged in a major way. But why I think this is that crypto is allowing net new capital markets to form around internet native assets in ways that they never could. And so we're starting to see these markets form around content in net new, unique ways where creators are able to benefit from, extra monetization of their content and their work, but consumers are also able to benefit from sharing their attention with these networks, in the form of either ownership, value added participation, or if you're a crypto native speculator type, like maybe a little bit of profit. And so I think we're starting to see like a really, it's kind of subtle and it looks like a toy where people are posting TikToks on chain, but when you see the market cap next to that video and it's like a $1,400 video and it started as like a $12 video or a $22 video, you're like, wait, what's happening here? And
Mm.
I think a lot of it is that sort of net new capital markets machine that is crypto.
Yeah, if to me, the two biggest obvious use cases for adding value to the internet are the value of information through predictions markets and the value of content through Zora. Like
Bingo.
those are like the two. Like and we're see. I think everyone gets prediction markets now, right? Like everybody's seen what's happening with polling market. Like I think we also
Yeah,
saw what happened with the election of how it was much better at
it was
predicting than
literally a driver
it
of the
was. Yeah,
election.
it predicted the election before any of the media called the election, right? So and and then that same thing is going to happen with attention, where when you ascribe value to attention, then we we can get out of we can escape the current monopolies and the current algorithms that control our attention, and we can spend our attention on things that are other people think are valuable, and it's going to change. It just feels so obvious to me.
Yeah, yeah. I do feel that like prediction markets, which you can think of like information, attention, and content markets are all converging on the same thing, which is the token. Like they're all converging on the same type of capital market tesseract, which is a token on chain, because it allows for radically new participation in capital markets. So like if you think about the way that like an ad exchange works, which by the way, like you mentioned, like the things we spend our attention on, et cetera, it's like all of that is getting monetized on a private exchange run by an incumbent social network, right? And so even as the crypto, like excuse me, even as a content creator, you don't actually have ownership of that market, even though you have ownership of that IP, right? So like you might be able to like add some ad slots into your individual video, but the majority of that monetization is actually happening outside of your remit. It's happening behind the scenes for X, behind the scenes for IG, and they're monetizing the attention you're generating. Selling your impressions to publishers, and then giving you, the I don't know where the creator revenue payout stacks up.
Yeah,
Like I don't think
pretty
that's
low.
third equity. Okay, like you're not
Yeah,
getting paid first. Okay, you're
no.
probably getting paid somewhere around last. Okay, and so you're probably getting like, even though it feels like a lot of money for the top 1% of creators, you're probably getting like pennies on the dollar. Like you're getting chump change.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then in many other programs, like let's look at TikTok, for example, you're not even eligible to earn or monetize from their creator program unless you have 10,000 followers. And this is all because, to get back to the original point, the markets for attention are locked up and gate kept by the networks, right? They're not open and accessible to the public in ways that allow capital to flow and form around creativity in these sort of unmitigated ways, And so
Well,
I think starting, okay.
I was just gonna say, and you bring up TikTok, uh, you need 10,000 followers to monetize. You also need to live in certain countries, right? Like,
Man, you got to live in
how
certain countries.
how many jurisdictions can't even they can't, you might have millions of followers on TikTok. You're an incredible creator, but
Bingo.
you live in a country where your jurisdiction doesn't allow you to monetize.
Yeah,
So
bingo. Right.
you're out.
Or your video might just not be eligible.
Mhm.
Like, I mentioned my sister to you earlier before
Right.
we jumped on the live stream. Prominent TikToker. She makes video content for sports. You can actually check her out, Mariah Rose, Hoops for Hotties. Absolutely incredible content creator. But she's like, yo, I don't make my money off of like TikTok helps me to pay my bills, but like I don't make the majority of my income off of TikTok. I actually make it off platform
Yes.
outside of my base craft, which is content creation through partnerships and ads, all this other stuff. So it's like
Mhm.
that asset, like the asset that is content, hasn't been monetized effectively or efficiently because it's been monetized in very private markets. Like if you're a free market like champion, right? Like turn down the gates. Like this should be a market that you also want to free.
Mhm.
I see a lot of people sometimes up in arms around the fact that memes and content and maybe a photo of somebody's lunch or a video of somebody's dog is winding up on chain, and but people are trading it. That asset would otherwise live on another network and get monetized by some massive privatized ad exchange. Like why not let that creator own that market? It's like the next
Totally.
phase of your IP.
Selling your Bitcoin should be a last resort when you need cash. That's why there's Ledn, the trusted platform for Bitcoin backed loans. You can unlock cash in as little as 18 hours with no monthly interest payments and no prepayment penalties. They've issued over 9 billion in loans and never lost a single Satoshi of client funds, even during the chaos of 2022. If you're a long-term hodler, this is the move. Get liquidity without selling at milkroad.com/Ledn, spelled Ledn. Meet CSUSDL, the stablecoin built for institutions and DAOs. Don't just hold basic stablecoins, earn yield, all without compromising security, backed by regulated real-world assets and secured with institutional-grade risk management by our friends at Stakehouse Financial. Put your treasury cash to work, earning native yield and protocol rewards. Built by the team behind Coinshift, which is trusted to manage over 1 billion in business treasuries on chain, including Aave, Gitcoin, and hundreds of leading institutions. CYCS USDL is gaining traction at milkroad.com/Coinshift. Yeah. Yeah. What I feel like when I look at Zora right now is I won't deny that it feels it feels so new that it feels a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because it is
Yeah.
stretching, it's innovating and pushing and disrupting, and seeing dollar signs next to a content post is weird, right? Like, let's be real, it does feel you're like, what is this? Like, why is that there? Like, this is value. Like, what is that value? To and obviously, like, I understand it, but to a normie, it is a little bit weird. But then at the same time, as we said earlier, once you use it and you get into it, you're like, oh, why hasn't it always been this way? This makes so much sense. So it's, I don't know. I think this is a gradually, and then all of a sudden there's going to be, I mean, you guys are already having, you said $230 million in trading volume in 7 weeks. Like, that's incredible success so far, but it
Yeah.
feels like the takeoff velocity is just coming. I want to pause here for a second, and I want to dive into some examples of some
And
actual posts, because we're
yeah.
talking about this, but I want to make sure that our audience actually understands how you are tokenizing content and how value is exchanged here and how this all works. So I'm going to bring up a tweet that you shared recently of what you said was one of your favorite Zora stories. So I don't
Oh,
know if
cool.
this is the one you want to share or if there's another example you want to give, but walk us through how a content coin actually operates and how value is exchanged.
Yeah, this is really cool. So from the creator side, it's actually as easy as posting on Instagram. It takes like 2 seconds to sign up. You can sign up with an email. You don't need any familiarity with crypto or any like technical knowledge of tokenization. You can literally just sign up with a picture, post it, and you can now you just tokenized your media and your content. More radically, you just created a market for that unique piece of media, which is crazy. And so this person who we're featuring here, Tiny Soul Game, animator out of Southwest London. They've actually been posting on Zora for like the last 2 weeks. They make these crazy banger viral gifs. This pigeon, the
This
reason
is the internet right here. Like this is
it
this
is,
is
it is.
classic
By the way,
internet.
like I think if we go to that actual pigeon post, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It's like a $1,400 pigeon, which
Like
sounds insane to say, but it's like a
how is this
fourteen
a
hundred dollar gift.
$1,400 pigeon? Like this is the part you need to
Okay,
explain to us.
even crazier, it started as a $22 pigeon, and there's been so much market demand. So here's what's really happening is that the market is signaling or acknowledging what other people will think is valuable. Like, if I, as a potential speculator or an audience member or a fan, I see this pigeon and I'm like, yo, I've seen it all over my timeline. It's like it's going crazy. Like this thing is winning that attention. I think people will find this valuable if there's a market for it. And I'm early to it. You buy it at $22, the thing starts trading like crazy because it's a viral post that other people find valuable. Other people make their way to the market, and you wind up with a case of there being, 3,000 trades of this pigeon GIF. You wind up. It's actually insane. Or this might be for like their total collection. And because this is what's really cool, like because the market for monetizing media on Zora is disintermediated from the sort of private publisher network ad relationship, there's value that can flow to the creator. And so, as people are trading their attention, really, of this piece of content, the creator is able to earn a small trading fee. They also are able to own, I think, so by default, every creator gets 1% of each post. And so they wind up with 10 million tokens. But what that is it's ownership in the asset that is their content. Like, really, when you're posting, you're issuing an asset, which is crazy.
That which is true. I really like that take actually. You're right. Yeah,
Right?
like you are creating IP that you created this IP, so
Yeah,
it's
man.
your asset.
I should tweet that. It's like content creation is the new form of asset issuance. And
Mhm.
it's because
Yes.
content creation is now bundled with market creation and
Mhm.
market formation, right?
Mhm.
Even more radical is it's broadly accessible to the entirety of the internet, which allows capital to form around this asset in a radically different way than a permissioned, either geographically permissioned, compliant, whatever restriction or eligibility you have to form fit in order to participate in the market has now dissolved, so the whole internet can participate. And so you see demand that's probably been bottled up on ad exchanges or bottled up in uh, really bottled up and probably only able to escape via merchandise sales, where it's like, oh, I'm going to buy a cup of my favorite, a fork from my favorite food creator, right? But it's like, oh, wouldn't you rather just buy the real IP of the asset, which is the post? um, and so I think we're starting to see that latent demand make its way into content coins. And so if we go back to the post real quick, you'll see that they've made like $500 just at $423.46 plus all of the ownership that they have in the post, which I don't, if we did the math, and it's probably like an extra like $1,000 or so.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
roughly.
So like they've now made in 2 weeks, $500 plus $1,000 in unrealized gains. Like they have this money sitting here, right? So it's like, okay, now map that against what you're making on as a content creator of this size, 92,000 followers on X, right? Maybe you're having a couple weeks where you're pushing a lot of impressions. So you might be eligible for if you paid for X premium, by the way, you might be
Mhm.
eligible to earn a bit of money. But then even like if you're making $1,000 or $2,000 on X in a month, yo, you're probably like the top. Those numbers are what I see from like the top 5% of creators. So I'm like, oh man, we've now raised the floor of earning potential for the long tail of creators on social networks. So it's
Mhm.
like the everyday average
Yeah.
creator now has a similar earning opportunity as the top 1% of creators just based on their content alone, because the market has been freed and made available for people to participate in that either want to support, they want to signal, or they want to speculate. It's actually
Are those the 3? Because I was gonna ask that as my next question is
yeah,
like I get the creator side, I think is pretty obvious. We all get that,
yeah.
especially in the long tail, as you said. Like, I mean, my brother started creating on you know what, I gotta get my brother on Zora. My brother started
Oh,
creating
you're the
on.
friend that's telling your friend. Remember
There you
earlier,
go. Yeah, I'm that guy now.
odd is
You
successful,
you
then you'll have a
you
friend who tells their friend, you're the friend.
yeah, yeah. You Zora pilled me already.
Yeah, hey man, your words.
But he's creating on TikTok and Instagram. Has gotten up to about 300,000 followers in a
Amazing.
few months. So he's like doing very well, but he's making no money because he can't join the creator program because
Boom.
he's in Canada, and Instagram gives you nothing, so he's not getting anything there. So like
Oh
and he's
man.
been like there's a great example, and people love him. And okay, but going back to uh, the user,
Yeah,
because so I get the creator side, right?
yeah.
But here's the challenge: is creators aren't going to go to a platform
Mm,
unless there's attention there and there's users there,
mm,
right?
yeah,
And so, you mentioned there's three reasons why a user would buy
mm,
and would like, because
yeah,
to me, like the speculation is the one that stands out to me, and I get that part. But
yeah.
does the whole world want to speculate? Like, I don't think so. You
No,
know what
no,
I
they
mean?
don't. But I think a lot of people do want to support. Like, so, we learned this through the NFT cycle, both on the 721 auction side and the 1155 open edition side, is that like patronage on the internet is a thing. But I
Mhm.
don't think that that's like the whole thing, right? And patronage with limited secondary markets is actually pretty inefficient patronage because you're not able to capture the maximum amount of benefit from that work, which you would be if there was a liquid secondary market, which coins uniquely enable, just out of the box. And so I do think patronage and support is definitely a factor. One thing that I'm gonna park the three S's. So we have support, speculation, and signal. Signal being like taste, speculation being, oh, I think that this will be more valuable in the future, and then support being the patronage piece. There's something like a secret third thing or fourth thing, which I think is emerging, which I'm very, very excited about, which is when you remove the ad exchange from the social network and remove the need for there to be this almost undesirable type of media in the network, you increase the connection premium that each user gets when they find their friends, right? So it's like when you're scrolling through Zora, what makes it super unique in the fact that there's no ads is that it's all friends. And like one of the things you hear the most about on social networks is that people can't find and connect with the people they want to and the friends that they want to because the networks are littered with fucking billboards and littered with ads. It's littered
Mhm.
with people who are telling you a bunch of shit that you probably didn't want to hear, right? And so what's super, super cool in the long term is if this actually works and we are able to really have efficient and liquid markets for creativity and for content, then you might not need the ads, which means you might have a peer network, which means like the just engagement experience alone might be dramatically improved, right? So it's like, oh, I can actually find the people I want. And by the way, now also the market is telling you what content is valuable to show up in the feed. So it's like the market is the algorithm to some extent, which is actually to your prediction markets point earlier, almost like a better and more efficient way to get what's really valuable
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to determine what's valuable based on what an advertiser is willing to pay for, we let the
Yeah.
market figure out what's valuable based on what people are really willing to put their weight behind
Mhm.
or what they're willing to put their, so you put your money where your mouth is kind of thing. And so it's like if I think this post or this pod is going to be really valuable one day, like now instead of me having to tweet or be like, yo, in before 1,000 views, yo, in like comment before 500
Yeah.
retweets, right? I could
Yeah,
just
yeah,
be like,
yeah. Just
yo, in fact, like I want to show you how easy it is to particularly. It's like I just double tap on my phone. Like it's actually, oh, we just updated the app, so I gotta click the button first. One sec. It's like a real life.
You guys are shipping too much too
Yeah,
fast.
like this is Zora.
It's
Like
a
this is
big and you look at that, that looks like
like,
Instagram. That looks like Instagram.
bingo. Okay, but what doesn't look like Instagram, to your point earlier, which is so jolting for people,
Mhm.
is the market cap. But
Mhm.
like, guess what? Like a lot of these videos, like if you think about earned media value, like you're a content creator, and this has been like the magical metric that marketers have conjured up back in the science labs to really make influencer marketing and all of that stuff like science to some extent, right? It's like one impression is worth 2 cents and one like is worth 4 cents and a retweet is worth $4, right? And like, oh, that makes this video worth 100K,
Mhm.
right? I can show you $100,000 video on Zora, and it's not because I cooked up some math
Right.
equation. It's because the market decided it was $100,000 video, you know? And then when you start to think about like the sort of like reconciliation of those two stats, it actually feels natural. So it's like, oh, maybe we're just showing you a number that's been hidden the whole time
Mhm.
behind the shrouds and veils of the ad exchanges. But yeah, it's as easy.
So
Like, this is a kid who posted a video of himself rapping on Zora.
okay.
It's like a $400 video now. He's just like, this is crazy, bro. You don't see this on chain, right? Okay, so I'm gonna be like this. I just bought it.
You just bought it.
I just bought it.
Like
Okay, at the
at
bottom, you see it's pending. Like I just bought this.
at what price? Like with like is this how did you decide what money to put into this?
Oh, okay. So the cool thing about the app, first of all, I think we're the only mobile app that has double tap to buy. Like, I think you used to have to go on MetaMask.
That's actually huge.
You used to have
You
to
double
connect.
right, so you don't have to yeah, yeah, yeah. Look
When
at
we
this.
first set out to develop the Zora app, the mobile app, this has got to be one of the most differentiated apps in all of crypto.
Yeah.
Like when we first set out to do it, we were like, oh, we'll ship this thing in like a month, right? We were like, oh, it's like 2 months, right? 7 months later, like 7 months later, we shipped this app, right? But like during that time, we were like, okay, what's the current path to buying a token on your phone, right?
Mhm.
And we mapped it out. My co-founder Jacob had this big ass slide that he shared at a town hall, and it was like it takes like 12 clicks or 7 clicks and 3 app switches, right? Like you're in the merry-go-round at that point
Yeah,
to
yeah.
spend your
No
money.
wonder
Okay,
we can't onboard anybody new to crypto.
well, there's other reasons we can't do that that I won't go into on the stream. We could do a whole nother episode about that. But there's like 3 app switches, right? To actually spend money. You can imagine how much demand is getting curbed out of the market or is falling off in that flow, right? So we were like, yo, what if you could just double tap and you buy? And so now in the app, you have a smart wallet connected. It's loaded up with a balance. You tap twice and you buy. And then I can set what I want my default to be. So like mine might be, 50 cents. Other people's might be $1. Maybe it's 20 cents or whatever. By the way, again, the markets for these pieces of content, they're starting at $22.
They
So like
start at
when I
22, okay.
yeah, that's the default. The default starting market cap is $22. So
Why
when I show you,
$22? Any reason?
oh, we're trying to get it to zero.
Right.
Yeah. So the reason being is that we want to have the most efficient and most accurate price discovery of every piece of media on the internet possible. And the only way that that's like mathematically possible is if we get the starting market cap as close to zero as we can. It is an enormous mathematical and technical challenge to achieve this.
Mm.
Like it is like we're working with this team Doppler. They've built like an amazing Uniswap V4 hook. I think we're like the first team that it's like multi curves. Like, man, I do the ops, but like all the other, it is brilliant, brilliant engineering happening underneath the hood for these markets, which allows us to have the best price discovery of a piece of media that you can find. And so, like, before it was actually $2,000. And then people would show up to the app and be like, what the fuck? This isn't a $2,000. Like, what? That's crazy. Like it's like
Right.
very hard to believe.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when it
yeah,
starts at zero or starts near zero, you're like, oh, yeah, that's probably, this might be worthless. And then
yeah.
it turns out, oh, it's worth $400. Oh, it turns out it's worth $3,500. I think the top token on Zora in like the last 24 hours, it wasn't like it was more of a meme than a piece of content, but I think it hit like a $2 million market cap in like 6 hours.
It
So
did a
like,
2 wow. Now
well, he did like
that says
$760,000 of trading volume in like 4 hours. It was crazy.
does that to you, does that say that, like, the crypto casino crowd is in Zora and they're, like, meme coining Zora and they're
Mhm.
speculating? Or is that, like is that the future and we're gonna see more of that happen?
I think we'll see more of this happen. Like I think I pulled the stats and it's like 0.1% of posts on social networks like go properly viral, So I think it's going to be a very small percentage of posts that truly do go from zero, like real zero to, multi-million dollars, 8-figure posts, right?
Mhm.
But we've seen it happen, and I think it will happen again and again and again and again. Do I think it's the crypto casino crowd? I don't know if like the like there's two defaults that I don't exactly know how we got to, right? Like like when it was Uniswap and ICOs, they didn't really call it a casino,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
true.
But like for some reason, like we've gotten to some other place where I think the sort of perception of these markets is being somewhat warped and distorted as we figure out some of the like novel mechanisms to prevent things like sniping or to do things like efficient price discovery, right? And so like, and people have gotten burned, so I get it. But like, I don't think that like, I feel the same way. It's kind of spicy. We did this video at Zora where they asked you like, what's a word you were get rid of in the crypto space. And
Okay.
man, I was hard pressed to think of one. It took me so long. And then I just blurted out trench. It's like, oh, why did I say trench? I'm like, everybody loves the word. I love the word. I've been in the trenches for months.
Yeah.
And I realized I said it because I think casino and trench and like there's like these war
Mhm.
sort of brands, and then these like casino speculator, like those really brand the space,
Mhm.
right? And I think like speculation. I actually wrote this the other day. It's like capital formation doesn't necessitate speculation, and speculation doesn't necessitate extraction. Like I don't think speculation has to be this like
Yeah.
perverse, bad behavior. I actually think speculation drives discovery and liquidity to emergent markets like the ones I'm describing on the internet now. And it's also responsible for helping to bootstrap many of like the most important industries and markets in our space, like in the world, right? And
Mhm.
so I don't want to demonize really either of them, but I think we're maturing out of them,
Mhm.
And I think what really is happening is that people are acknowledging um, undervalued internet native assets like memes or undervalued internet native assets like content, and are smart money piling in with their bags and making a lot of money at the expense of some other people. But I think the canary in the coal mine here is like there's creators all over the internet now who are able to apply these markets to their craft and benefit in a major way. So I think we're in like the I think I'm not going to do we're still so early, even though there's literally 500 million people, probably
Yeah,
less,
we are.
that use crypto. I know, but
Yeah.
I said that on Twitter the other day. I was like, there's 560 million crypto users compared to the I think it's like 6 billion internet users. And people were like, there's not even that many. And I was like, oh, then you don't get the point. Like, I'm like, it's so small. It's so small. So yeah, I think we're probably in our like tween age years, like we're
Yeah.
somewhere in there, and we'll mature out of this. And just like free markets got applied to just about every other industry in the world, I think they're about to get applied to social media and attention on the internet.
Okay, two other topics I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about Zora token,
Yeah,
and then the other is what's the end game here? Let's talk first about what the end game here is, and then let's talk about Zora token. What I mean when I say the end game is, um, are the existing social media players going to adopt crypto and copy what you guys are doing eventually, or are you going to disrupt and displace them?
I think that the existing social networks. Wow, I've never thought of this analogy, but I'm going to try. Okay,
Okay.
I think that them starting to adopt will be like banks or traditional brokerages or exchanges adopting like support for crypto assets, meaning
Yeah.
you're allowed to trade them and whatnot. I think that it will be kind of like social's version of like a large incumbent financial institution launching a stable coin,
Mhm.
where it's like, oh, that's a great payment rail to get money to a creator. But I don't know that they're going to lean all the way into full blown asset issuance, where it's like creators are now like, as a part of posting, they are also creating markets that people who are outside of your platform are able to access. And so it's kind of like the centralized exchange to decentralized exchange path, where I'm like, oh, I think they're going to be much more like the centralized exchanges, where like some of that or some flavor of these services will be available there, or like some dimension of these assets will be available there. But then there's going to be dexes like Zora, which is probably like the Uniswap or the aerodrome of this pipe, which will be doing the issuance piece, as well as allowing people to have price discovery on the content itself. So it's
Mhm.
just like one click deeper into the stack versus just staying at the payments like layer. I should write this out more fully because I've literally never thought of that until now. The centralized exchange and decentralized exchange piece, Alex from from Aerodrome has written a lot about, and it's pretty good. But the sort of payments analogy one is new and loose. So if that didn't quite hold, thank
No,
you
that's
for.
solid. That's solid. That's solid. Okay, let's talk about Zora token. Uh,
Mm,
give us the talk us through Zora token. Does it have utility? How is it used?
yeah.
Give us the background.
Yeah, so we launched the Zora token on April 23rd as exactly what it was, which is a meme coin and collectible for the Zora ecosystem.
Mhm.
That was met with a lot of spice and fervor because people do want, matter of fact, I would say people expect there to be a bit more, a larger risk appetite for adding utility into your token at the outset. I would say like that's what the market expects right now, even if that isn't what we feel like leads to the most successful, to your point, in game for the token. And so um, we actually are pretty stoked about like a lot of the hate was kind of par for the course, you know, like so like we were kind of like, oh, that will happen, and then we will show people what we plan to do from this much more flexible state, which is to build the token into the Zora stack, right? So like, no, there aren't a bunch of governance functions and staking functionality in the token itself or the contract itself. There is the ERC20 votes extension, which I think a lot of people are missing, which allows anybody to do sort of lightweight voting with the token for their own initiatives, not protocol governance, but just for whatever they want. But yeah, we've prioritized putting the token into the Zora stack. And like, this is what I'm most excited about. And I think it's probably the subtlety that people have missed in the last week. And so a week after launch, maybe like 5 days after launch or so, we actually enabled Zora rewards on the Zora protocol, which means now instead of receiving your rewards as a creator in your coin and ETH, you now receive those rewards in the Zora token, which is cool because it's like an incentive alignment where it's like, oh, I receive the token, an official collectible of the platform that I use all the time. I'm like really excited about that. If this is successful, I feel like that's what he's like, like there's alignment there. But underneath the hood on the technical side, which I'm super stoked about, is that the Zora token, that meme coin, is actually the quote currency for every market that is issued by the Zora protocol, that's created by the Zora protocol. So every post is actually paired with the Zora token underneath the hood, which means that all of the sort of trading activity, like the sort of like market cap, if you will, of the content itself is actually getting shoved into the Zora token because it's the quote currency for all of the markets on the protocol. And so I think the only other team to really do something like this is Virtuals.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and they did it at the creator level versus the sort of post level. We're starting off at like the sort of atomic unit of attention, which is the post, and making sure that the Zora token, to some extent, is like a like as the quote currency for every post is like the quote currency for many posts on the internet, and then can imagine sort of layering in things over time where there could be other types of coins that could be quoted in the Zora token. And so I think like when I think about the stack, and I tweeted this the other day, and I think people were like, wow, you do a lot, and there's been a lot of changes or whatever. But it's like, what team do you know in crypto that has, it's like liquid token that's live? Yeah, exactly. Like a social network, a mobile app, a protocol. It's a collectible, which is a token. We have a developer toolkit, by the way, which hundreds of developers throughout the crypto ecosystem are now building on top of, so that they can have coins and Zora issuance in their own protocols or in their own experiences. It's the quote currency of every pair. It is the flag and signal of our community and ecosystem. And yeah, it's a meme coin, but like read all the other words. And
Mhm.
so I do think that, especially like if you were to look at my Twitter now, like you just click it and scroll, and like you see all of the real faces and real creators and like net new humans that are onboarding to Zora. I'm like, oh man, this is their flag.
Mhm.
So like this, I actually think the token is going to be the flag of the broader crypto creator economy, where it's like if you believe, what other crypto creator platform has a token like, that is built into the stack, right?
Mhm.
So like, I'm really excited about the outlook and prospect of the Zora token, both as like the default pair for any post or piece of media that is put on chain, which means it's like the default quote currency for any piece of media potentially on the internet, which is crazy.
Mhm.
And then also just being the flag and signal of the, the emerging crypto creator economy. It's like, if you believe in content on chain, if you believe in crypto, if you believe that we can onboard more than just crypto Twitter and Telegram users, and I say this a lot, but I'm like, it's kind of crazy that the dominant crypto social networks are Telegram and X, and I guess what, like Truth Social. They're all text based, right? They're all text first. So like what we're presenting to crypto is almost orthogonal to what it naturally experiences. And so it's like, I actually think this is a massive opportunity for crypto to onboard the rest of the media landscape and the rest of the world, who, by the way, is on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, right? And so it's like, if you believe that crypto can do that, and if you believe that Zora is pretty well set up to execute on that vision and has an economic model that makes sense for you to participate in, why would you like? There's your thesis.
There you go.
Your thesis,
Yeah.
and I think we can do a much better job of like sharing that vision with people, because we
Mhm.
did say that the token, which it is it's just for fun and engaging content on the
Yeah.
protocol.
Yeah.
I
And I
like it.
don't think that's not a. Um, I think we're seeing. I think you guys are starting a playbook that we're going to see more crypto companies follow. I
I
think,
appreciate that. I said this on a
and on the token side, I
yeah,
think
I
we're
said
going to
this on a
see.
pod where I'm
Yeah.
like, I think we did a lot of founders a disservice by having them overbake their tokens from the outset.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, having to put all of the like all of the promises and then create all the theater, like we made everything a bit of a distraction. Like, it was just like, is that really what it is? And do you really have to do that? Versus allowing people, it'd be like if you had to know everything your company was going to do from day zero.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like
Or
you
like
don't
you have to know every
every
remix of your meme before you launch. It's just like, you just
you
don't
don't
know.
know. Yeah.
You don't
So
know.
then just simplify it to the maximum, which is just say it's a meme coin to start
And
with.
and by the
And
way,
then
and be honest.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
then
like
just allow it to, over time, become something that's
exactly.
much bigger and become integrated, and not to mention, that you guys are one of the first tokens that didn't require KYC in the US, right? Am I
Oh
accurate in
man,
saying
this is
that?
a whole. So I have like a half of my blog written on this.
Yeah.
Yitong,
I almost don't wanna bring this up because we're almost we're actually over time right now on the show, but let's talk
oh,
about this
cool, cool.
quickly, and then
I'll
we'll
tuck it
wrap
in
up.
quick. So
Okay.
like, I really like this concept of just like American coinage, or like American made crypto. It's like we've been talking about it for the entirety of our token explorations, which started like 2 years ago. Like, I think in 2022, in 2023, we kicked off an analysis of how we could launch a token from the US, like our US entity. And like many moons later, we wound up with the Zora token. And so our token was issued, developed, and all of our operations happened straight out of our Delaware C Corp, which I think is like the first time ever. There's a litany of boxes that we had to tick in order to facilitate an airdrop from our like a token launch and airdrop from our Delaware C Corp, which did not require us to do 1099s and KYC. A lot of the learnings that went to that actually came from us fast failing last December when we had an OP retro grant redistribution, where we gave tokens to a bunch of the creators and collectors and developers in the Zora ecosystem. But because of some of the mechanics of that distribution, as well as the value of those tokens, we were faced with some pretty large compliance hurdles. And it just limited the amount of people who were able to, really, not even from like a functional perspective, but just like a practical perspective, like they just preferred not to do a lot of that stuff, and it was met with a lot of disdain. And so, fortunately, when you're issuing a token, you don't have some of the sort of uh, large value constraints that you would have on an existing and liquid token. And so that, plus a lot of the amazing sort of compliance brilliance from the teams that we worked with on the compliance and legal side, helped us to design a launch plan that, like, I mean, I'd love to just put out the, like, I really think after going through this, I'm like, there's like a legal Zoom Stripe at, like, I'm like, there's some product out there that allows people to do this in a legible way, even on chain. And you just add the required memos and docs that you need, and people can see it. But we had to invest a lot of financial capital, as well as time and writing and writing and writing to get the required memos to button the whole thing up. But yeah, we issued and launched a token from our Delaware C Corp. We are very excited to share with the world how you can do it. We think more teams should be issuing their tokens from the US in a genuine way, and we'd love to sort of share how you can do that yourself. So yeah, it was a my co-founder Jacob, who's probably one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, looked me in the face and was like, "No, we're gonna do the whole thing from the US entity as a meme coin." And I was like, "That is expert mode."
You're like, "Are you sure, man?
Tell people it's
Are you
just
sure?"
for fun. Yeah, I was like, "Fucking hell, man!"
You're
So,
like, "Whoa, really? Okay."
yeah, I feel like trial by fire, we made it through. I'm super stoked. Like I
If
said, the forward-looking opportunity is super bright, and yeah, I'm
if
pretty pumped about where we're
if a founder is listening to this, are you where are you sharing that? Because I
Mm,
have heard you and Jacob talk about how you're
yeah.
going to like open source basically
Yeah,
almost
so
how to do this.
I'm currently drafting a blog that will
Okay.
have a lot of this information in it. That's gonna have to go through all of the same checks that we went through to do this. So bear with us on time. If you want though, you can reach out to me on Twitter. I think that you got my Twitter here because it's live.
We'll put it in the show notes too. Yeah.
Yeah, you can DM me. I'm always down to chat. I'm happy to spread the gospel until we write the whole thing down. But yeah, it's soon to come.
Awesome. Dee, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thank you, Jay. This was great. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you all listening in. As you all know, this is for entertainment purposes only. None of today's episode is financial advice. Whether you're buying a token on Zora or grabbing a content coin, or you're investing in the Zora token or Bitcoin or ETH, whatever, everything is risky and you should do your own research and you should make your own investment decisions and you should only invest what you're prepared to lose. With that all being said, if you are trading, you might want to check out OKX, which is one of our partners and one of my favorite exchanges. Why? Because it's simple, it's easy to use, it's trustworthy. They got great security. If you hit the link in the show notes and you trade on OKX today, you could win $60,000 USDT through our partnership with them. Check it out. Thanks again for listening in, folks. We'll see you back again tomorrow. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your number one resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.